Hello, Maurieo. Wow, that's a bloody fine set of field notes there. Very carefully drawn, meticulous, nice diagram, clear printing. Looks like it's following a very set pattern. Excellent work. Very nice set of field notes there. My way or the highway? I've put this here because with field notes, quite often that is the case, my way or the highway. Often we are reporting to a senior surveyor or to someone in the company. It's most important that the field notes be readable to other people. So quite often there are set guidelines that you must be followed. People have set these down. Quite often in a company there might be 2 or 3 surveyors, each with different requirements for their field notes. But it's very much a case of my way or the highway. I'm signing the plan. It's my reputation that's on the line. You do it my way, and I will sign the plan off. If you don't do it my way, you're getting yourself into quite a bit of trouble. When you're a senior surveyor yourself and you are in the position of determining what your way is, my way or the highway will apply, and you will remember this day when you were told that with field notes it's my way or the highway. And just to reinforce that, here it is again, my way or the highway. Now we'll be looking at field notes, but also time has moved on and now we have various forms of data collection where we are able to collect data digitally in the field, and we must remember and look at how we deal with that in the same way that we used to deal with field notes in the old days. Now I'll just put this little quote here. It sort of relates to a my way or the highway attitude. I asked him if he, Paul Rand, would come up with a few options, and he said, "No, I will solve your problem for you and you will pay me. You don't have to use the solution. If you want options, go talk to other people." This is from Steve Jobs, who was the man from Apple. So, field work. This topic is about field work, recording field work, and recording it on field notes. So, field notes. What makes good field notes? Well, there's many people will give you different answers to that. So as an assessment task, I'm going to ask you to compile a top 10 list of field note rules. It's the top 10 list. It's not the exclusive list of all the rules, but the top 10 list. So let's have a look at a few examples. Field notes should be easy to follow. I mean, this is important. The actual test for this used to be, or the bottom line was, that field notes should be able to be followed by a competent draftsman. A competent draftsman should be able to draw a plan from your field notes. Now, what's happened here? Complete. Yes, the field notes should be complete, not half finished. They should be completed. In my case, I like the field notes to be written and then reduced, and when the reduced bearings and distances and what have you have been determined, they are then written on the diagrams that were produced in the field. But the field notes should be complete, not half finished. No rip-outs. Should be no ripped out pages from the middle of the book. In field book situation, what we generally do with the field book is that if we wish to cross it out, I've got things coming there at all. We'll take them away. We're not ready for them yet. If you're crossing something out, it should be crossed out with a single line and written underneath. You do not, under any circumstances, use a rubber or eraser in the field book. field book is for everything, recording everything that happened in the field, including the mistakes. Clarity is important. You should have numbers should be able to differentiate it. They should be clear as to what they are and not easily confused with other numbers. So be very clear about how you do your numbers. Make sure that they're nice and clear. Purpose. A field note should have a definite purpose. It's important that people know what the purpose of the field note is. This may involve writing an explanation, dates, times and what have you as to why the field notes were recorded. Logical. Yes, they should be logical, not a measurement here and then something 2 or 3 pages later on. They should follow a logical, systematic process that is easy to follow, complete, clear. See, these are all good things. Field grime. Field notes should be a little bit dirty. It does get dirty out in the field. Your hands get dirty. You shouldn't consciously be there trying to make them grimy, but certainly field grime is clear evidence that the field notes were produced in the field. So a little bit of cow dung or sheep nuts or green grass or squashed insects and all these sort of things, they should appear from time to time in your field notes because these things happen. Not to mention a bit of dirt and ash and soot and what have you that you might pick up from time to time, but not too much that it obliterates the field notes. Symbols. Yes, you may use symbols in your field notes to indicate various things, particularly where they're small things that may be need to be hard to draw, or just where symbols all you need. So your symbols should be clear and they should be well recognised and you know exactly what they are. Compact. Your field notes should be not too spread out all over the show, but in the same token, paper is relatively cheap, and they don't need to be show so much economy that they are difficult to follow. So, but try and keep them reasonably compact without too big a gap and what have you in them. They should be done with a pencil. 2H or harder is what I believe. An HB pencil is far too soft and leaves a lot of carbon around and can create a very messy sort of field note. It's a little bit of water and things involved, but 2H or harder is my rule. They should have ruled lines. That becomes a little bit unruly if you don't have ruled lines. This is in your diagrams. You should rule a line with a little ruler, and it also helps you to get a little bit of scale into things. It's also helpful in the page or the line page that you do have ruled lines to follow and write on, but here we're referring to ruled lines between on the drawing or diagram page. These should generally be done with a ruler rather than freehand. They should be honest. One of the top things. These should be what actually happened in the field, not what you thought happened in the field, what you want to happen in the field, or what should have happened in the field, what actually happened in the field. You should never under any circumstances make up entries into your field note or write in things that were not recorded in the field. Measurements and things like this. Yes, they should be well organised. This may involve indexing the book itself, numbering the pages, with cross-referencing from mark to mark and what have you. It's very important that you organised field notes makes it very easy for everyone else. They should show independent checks. Where independent checks have been made, they should be shown. This might be zero checks with your bearings, perhaps taping a distance out, measuring a distance in feet and inches as well as metres. You should show your checks, record your checks, and check and show that your checks have been checked. It's all very well measuring, say, a distance in feet and inches, but you must convert it to metres and tick to show that you have converted it to metres and it agrees with the measurement that it was checking. Diagrams, yes, you must. Diagrams are important. As they say, a picture paints 1,000 words, and so it is in the field book. A diagram should be there showing what happened, depicting, usually with north facing up the page, be a reasonable record, although not necessarily to scale, but definitely with ruled lines, and a clear diagram of the situation should be drawn in the field book at the time of survey. Now, they're field notes. Field notes are done in the field, not office notes. Office notes are done in the office. They're not field notes. They're not honest, and they should be avoided at all costs. You should keep your field notes safe. If you have spent a week on a survey, let's say a field party costs or prices out at around $1,000 a day, and you've recorded 5 days worth of information, and you lose the field book or the field notes, that's $5,000. That's quite a lot of money, and let me tell you, I haven't ever had to repeat a survey, but I know some who have, and it's not a pleasant task. Not only you're repeating what you previously did, but you've got the boss looking over your shoulder and shaking his finger at you and calling you all sorts of things that are not very nice. Leading and trailing zeros, yes, try to put in your trailing zeros, remembering from your previous topic, of course, that zeros and trailing zeros are a sign of accuracy. So if you measure something 10.60 and you measure it to the nearest centimetre, show it as 10.60, not 10.6, and of course not 10.600. Don't over-egg it, but at the same token, show what you've measured to the accuracy you've measured. It's quite simple to keep the right number of significant figures or decimal places there to tell people what the accuracy is of what you've done. Field notes should be consistent. Yes, it should be the same pattern, page. You shouldn't all of a sudden change to someone else's style halfway through a job. You must be consistent throughout a whole job, and preferably a whole field book, really, if it's your work all the time. Decimal points, yes, make sure the decimal points are very clearly indicated, not just little light pats on the page that could easily be mistaken for a fly speck or something. There must be definite decimal points. Show them very clearly. A north point on your diagram, very important. Show where north is. Usually up the page, but you can somehow, through various things that happen, what happens in the field stays in the field, sort of thing. But sometimes the north point might get at an odd angle for all sorts of reasons. But definitely show your north point on all your diagrams. Once you've compiled your own top 10 list of field note rules, perhaps in a group of 3 or 4, you might like to talk amongst yourselves and see what other people consider more important, and you might adjust your list as you wish, or as you think necessary, or add bits, or change the order, or whatever. But have a bit of a chat about it. See what other people think, and then in your own time, finalise your top 10 list in a digital format, and as is always the case, scan and email it or PDF it in to your tutor. Now, data from other sources. So sometimes we get data from other sources that aren't recorded in the field book or the field note. Okay, well, the obvious one, of course, is the data recorder. Now, the data recorder should be attributed the same status as the field note, so the information put in there should be done in the field, and you should take great care to safeguard it, download it at the end of the day, make sure the batteries don't go flat, and make sure the data is true and correct in your data recorder. Follow the set procedures. The old digital camera, yes, this could be a very useful tool, and are now in some cases obviously incorporated into telephones and data recorders. So photography. Now, one of the big things with this is downloading the photos when you get back and storing them against the job name. So you need to have some good systems in place to make sure that the photos you take end up where they should and are available. And they are a valuable aid with topographical plans, trying to work out what, the position of things and the juxtaposition of things in relation to others. And these can save a lot of rework and a lot of re-trips out into the field if you take some good digital photographs that can help you interpret your field data. Now, there are all other sort of forms of data, some of them obsolete. You've got your memory sticks, your PCs, your desktop, the old floppy disk, your little smart media, tape media. All of these things, all of this data needs to be organised and put into one spot so that it can be associated with the job and not lost. There's no point collecting the data and then not being able to find it. Very disappointing. The old back of the envelope trick. This can be an age-old thing. The back of the cigarette packet's sort of gone a bit now because it's too expensive. But the old back of the envelope. Now, when you collect this sort of data, it's very important that you record it when you get back to the office. So you might want to keep the envelope or scan it or take a photo of it or whatever, but make sure it's held with the job and that the data is recorded where it should be, because on the back of an envelope, not a suitable method, and it should be the data should be stored away straight away as soon as you can. Okay, the old peg and stake. Sometimes the only thing available is a peg in the back of the truck and the old felt tip pen for various reasons, so you record stuff on them, take the peg into the office, into the desk or whatever, and make sure it's recorded in the field notes or in the data recorder where it should be before the end of play. Otherwise it gets lost. Pegs get used for other things. Who knows? Sometimes on a stake or something like that, you might just mark the height of an instrument or the height of something, like we can see on this one here. There's a bit of a black line there, so that may indicate a height or something there that needs to be measured and recorded. So just don't say I'll do it later, because you never do. And of course there's the old back of the hand trick. Now, data written on there with vivid or indelible pen or something like that. It happens from time to time. Bit of an extreme case here, but once again, make sure that data gets where it should before you have a shower. Hopefully the next that evening or the next day. I'm hoping it's not expected that it would last for a week or more. I think surveyors should be showering more regularly than that. But however, this is not a forum to discuss your personal habits. Anyway, so let's move on. Field notes. Fix it in the field. One of the reasons that I've always wanted to be a surveyor and thought that surveying was important is because I like being in the field. So don't fix it in the office. Fix it in the field. That's where you'd rather be. That's the best place to fix it. If something goes wrong, sort it out in the field. Have it sorted before you go back into the office. It means less office time, more field time. Win-win. Redundancy. Take a few more measurements than you need, sometimes, from time to time. Quite often this pays dividends if you've forgotten to take a measurement, but you might have taken it from the other direction or from somewhere else. So, build a little bit of redundancy into what you do. It also provides some very useful checks and methods of checking things, and it pays dividends in the long run, just for the peace of mind that it gives. Independent checks, very important that they be recorded in the field notes, and very important that they actually be checked. It's all very well doing an independent check and recording it in the field note, but if it's not checked as such and ticked off as to say that it agrees with what it should do, then it's not a check at all. It's just some extra work that never gets used, and that's not right. You need to do your checks. Complete your field notes. Routine. Follow set routines. Do the certain things at certain times. If you do things out of order, they tend to be forgotten. So get into the habit of, say, measuring your instrument height as soon as you set up your instrument. get into the habit of measuring your target heights as soon as you set up the target, taking the field book with you or whatever. But get into good habits and have set routines for the various things you do. Get into a routine with your measurements. What you do your traverse shots first, then your pegs, perhaps then your topo shots, then any reflectorless shots, then you might do your diagrams. But follow a set routine, and that helps you to keep things going properly and avoid error. Use error reducing and accuracy enhancing methods. So there are various things that you can do. Obviously, sometimes for more accurate readings on traverse marks, we measure on left and right face. From time to time, if we want to measure to an accurate mark, we might take 2 shots on a pole with the pole spun through 180 degrees so that we can reduce any possibility of error, even though we believe our pole is accurate and in adjustment. By doing these things, they reduce the possibility of error, and they are accuracy enhancing methods. Like fixed centering is it enhances the accuracy. It allows accuracy to occur and gives you more confidence in your work. Keep it simple. Don't make things overcomplicate things. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Well, that's what Leonardo da Vinci has said, but I can't see how he said that at all, being an Italian, and that I can't think that he would have said that, that being in English, but never mind. Anyway, so keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. And checking data techniques. When you're using the data, try and always keep the original data pure as you move forward. If you're using digital data, move it forward as digital data. Don't tinker with it. And when you're doing checks and data checking, if at all possible, move back to the original data and keep the digital data clear and uncluttered and uncorrupted in some nice place somewhere. So that's what Maurieo's got to say about field notes and field work.